Welcome everyone to another edition of Beyond the PreCon, and today we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, the good old Doctor Strange. 100% the strongest character of all of Marvel Champions to date, even with all the releases that have come out. Doctor Strange still remains the most powerful hero in the game thus far. Nothing else comes close. All right, but before we continue into this and do our deep dive, let's remind you guys that please leave a comment, share, like, and if you like these videos, please give that a big thumbs up because it always makes me feel happy. All right, now, without further ado, here we go. Let's take a look at Doctor Strange and why he is, by gosh, the most powerful hero. So first of all, Stephen Strange is a mystic, 3 recovery, 6 hand size, and 10 hit points. He has begin the game with an invocation deck, which is pretty awesome, and that's very unique. So it's a set of cards that are set aside, and you always have access to them. Natural talent, action, discard the top card of the invocation deck, limit once per phase. So if you don't like the magic that's on top, you can always switch. And then in hero form, so you can see the regular, and this is the extended art promo. There's only one more after this, and after that, it's all the cards are all the same. So this is the before last. The last one was Hulk for the promo cards. All right, so there you go. So, and as Doctor Strange, he has a hand size of 5, 10 hit points. He is an Avenger and a Mystic. He has 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 defense. And he has an ability called Spell Mastery, which is action, exhaust Doctor Strange, and pay the cost of the top card of the invocation deck and resolve the special ability on that card. Now, the reason why Doctor Strange feels so darn powerful is because he has a 6th or 7th card, depending on your hand size. And that card is part of the invocation deck. So it's a very powerful card. It is his magic spells, and there is 5 different spells. So let's go look at those 5 spells. The first one is the Vapors of Valtor. And this one, it changes a status card. So if you're stunned, you can change your stun or confuse into a tough. If the villain's tough, you can change that tough to a stun or confuse. Very, very useful, but probably his weakest of the invocations. The other one that costs 0, so just for an exhaustion, the Winds of Watum, is a special where you exhaust Doctor Strange to draw 3 cards. Drawing 3 cards just to exhaust. It's amazing. All right, so that is probably my favorite. One of the most powerful ones is Winds of Watum. The second most powerful, I believe, is this one here. The 7 Rings of Raggador. The 7 Rings is for 1 cost, give up to 3 characters a tough status card. That's insane. So if you have 2 allies in play and yourself, you're just negating 3 attacks from the boss right now. So that means there's 3 attacks that don't do nothing. So that's why it's so powerful. Then his Images of Icon, which confuses the villain and removes 4 threat from a scheme for 1 cost, which is amazing. And this is not even a thwart action. So even if you're confused, you can still do that. And finally, the Crimson Bands of Sitorak, which is a 2-cost event. That's the most expensive one, but for a reason, it stuns an enemy and deals 7 damage to it. And then you place that card at the bottom of the invocation deck. So once you go through that invocation, you just shuffle it up and then set it aside. So as you can see, basically, you don't care what Doctor Strange has in his kit. You just want to play those cards, and that's why it's so powerful. You just want to do Doctor Strange's voodoo magic. But he does come with a hero kit, so let's take a look at his hero kit right now. All right, so aside from his invocation deck, these are the cards that come into his kit that are super powerful. So the first one is the Eye of Agamotto, which generates a wild resource, but it's a hero card. So it's always generating a resource, super, super solid. Then you have his Cloak of Levitation, which he gains the aerial trait, and you get to ready Doctor Strange. So now you can do 2 spells a turn. So this is amazingly powerful. So those 2 cards that you saw there are priority number 1 cards. Once you find that Cloak of Levitation and the Eye of Agamotto, you're just laughing all the way to the bank. Then he's got the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is an alter ego support that lets you shuffle a spell card from your discard pile and then draw a card. And we'll see he's got a couple of spells. So first of all, let's take a look at some of these spells. The first spells he has is an upgrade, which is Magical Enchantments. This is probably the card that you're always going to pitch as a resource, unless you're playing with a specific hero that can be pumped up. That makes a lot of sense to pump up. All right, so play under any player's control, and your hero gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense. So your hero, so you can play it on, let's say, Captain America, and now Captain America is a 3/3/4 if he has a shield. So that's really, really good. And when the round ends, you discard the Magical Enchantments. And what's cool about this is you can play 2 on one of those characters. So that's really fun. Since Doctor Strange doesn't really want to use his base powers, it's not something that you really want to play on him, but it's always fun if you want to play a strategy where you can kind of pump up your hero. These Magical Enchantments are great. All right, the next spells that we have are his Protective Wards, and this is one of the best cards in the game. Hero Interrupt. When a treachery is revealed, you discard all of its effects and discard it. So this is like, if you get Shadows of the Past, easy, you cancel it. But if you get Under Fire, which surges, it also cancels the surge. So that's 2 spells. And then we have a third spell here, which is Astral Projection, which he has 2 copies of as well. And that is a thwart action. You choose a scheme, you remove 3 from that scheme, and then you flip the top card. You look at the top card of the encounter deck, and for each boost icon, you remove an additional threat. So there's can be up to 3 icons. So you can remove 2. For 2, you can remove up to 6 threat. So that's pretty amazing. And you know the boost card that's coming. And then finally, his big attack card, which I personally never use, is the Magic Blast, which is a hero action attack to deal 5 damage to an enemy and discard the top card of your deck. And if that card's printed resource has a Fist, you stun, a Lightning, you deal 2 damage, a Mental, you confuse, and a Wild, you do everything. So this could be really fun. Later on, while there's going to be more cards with the Wild resource, you can kind of have fun with the Magic Blast and do, like, for 3, you do like 7 damage. Stun and confuse is really, really fun. But those are the 4 spell cards that he has presented to us. He also has an alter ego card, which is pretty nice. It's the Mystical Studies that says, search your deck for a Doctor Strange card and add it to your hand and then shuffle your deck. So that goes and gets your Cloak of Levitation. If you have that on turn 1, you play that, you go get your Cloak right away, and then you're going to be laughing. But if you have your Cloak, go get your Eye of Agamotto, and that's it. That's all you need. It's if you play the Mystical Studies, you're only going to go get the Cloak or the Eye of Agamotto. Anything else, or you can go get the Sanctum Sanctorum. But yeah, most of the time, that's the only thing you're going to need. The Cloak and the other one. Then he has another, it's not a spell, but is an event, which is extremely powerful, which is the Master of the Mystic Arts, which for 1 cost, you pay the printed cost of the top card of the invocation deck. So what's cool about this is if you have one of these, I always recommend playing it with the Winds of Watum, because then you're paying 1 plus this card, so technically you're playing 2 to draw 3 cards, but then you can exhaust, and technically you have an extra 4 cards in your hand. And if you have 2 of them, then you have an extra 5th card in your hand. So that's pretty good. But once you have resource generators, then that card just becomes broken, because then you're just drawing for 1 resource, you're drawing a whole bunch of stuff. And then finally, his signature ally is Mr. Wong. And Wong, you can exhaust Wong and you can heal Doctor Strange, or you can flip through the invocation deck, which is super, super solid. So as you can see, his hero kit is super, super strong. And most of the times, you're not even going to play most of the cards in this. You're going to play the Master of the Mystic Arts. You're going to play Wong. And you're going to play the things that go on the table, like his upgrades and support. But that's it. And after that, I rarely play anything else. But again, that's just me. All right, let's go take a look at his signature deck. He comes in protection, so let's take a look at his pre-con, and let's see how we can upgrade that experience even more. All right, let's take a look at his pre-con, and I I just rewatched myself like, what did I say? How can we enhance his precon? His precon, you could run expert villains with his precon and just be laughing. It's so powerful. All right, so he comes with Iron Fist, an incredibly powerful ally that can stun the villain twice. Then he's come also with Miss Clea, which is an ally that keeps shuffling back into your deck when she is defeated. We got Brother Voodoo, who searches your top 5 for an event. So these are great protection cards. So then you're like, ooh, I know I'm gonna add some of these cards to my Spider-Man deck, which is super fun. Then he's got Desperate Defense, again another great card if you want to play Spider-Man. So Desperate Defense, you get a +2 defense, and if you take no damage, you get to ready your hero. You got Momentum Shift that you heal 2 damage and then you deal 2 damage to an enemy. You got the Warning, which is for some the worst card in the game, but until Ghost Spider will be released, this card becomes really fun. We have an Avengers Mansion, which is a reprint. The 3 double resources. We got the Sorcerer Supreme, and this one is kind of tricky because of this card, the Mystical Studies. You cannot go search for the Sorcerer Supreme because the Sorcerer Supreme is not a Doctor Strange card, even though Doctor Strange is on the picture. So you got to be careful. So this is one card that you cannot go tutor with your Mystical Studies from the Hero Kit. But the Sorcerer Supreme gives you a +1 hand size while you're in hero form, which is amazing. Then you get Unflappable. If you have a perfect defense, if you defend an attack and take no damage, you can exhaust this to draw a card. You got the Night Nurse that removes status abilities on your hero and heals for 1. And then you get the mid-teams and the Powers of Protection. So already, the way it kind of wants you to play it is, all right, here, check this out. I'm going to use Doctor Strange. I'm going to defend. I'm going to play a Desperate Defense and have a defense of 4. And then ready. And then, I didn't take any damage. I'll get to draw a card. But that is useless. All of this is, you don't even need it. Because you just put tough on yourself and then you're laughing. Or you just use Iron Fist to stun the villain. You should never have to defend with Doctor Strange. Never. So again, unless you're super unlucky and you get attacked like 5-6 times in a row, you should always be tough and you should always have a blocker like Miss Clea and stuff like that. So again, all this is kind of irrelevant. But let's go into how we upgrade this precon with just the core cards. All right, so the first cards I would remove is the Unflappables. There's 3 copies of this. You can play these under any player's control. So if you are playing in multiplayer, it's still a good card to keep. But if you're playing solo, you only need 1 copy of this. So I would pitch these 2 first. The second cards I would the next cards I would pitch would be your 3 warnings. Again, yes, it can trigger off the defense, the Unflappable. But we're going to be replacing these with something that's just a little bit better. And then finally, 1 Momentum Shift is what I would remove. So I'm removing 1 Momentum Shift, 3 warnings, and 2 Unflappables. And to replace them with what? Well, we're replacing the warnings with 3 Indomitables because we're going to be playing into the, I do want to defend a little bit and kind of play the character as it's supposed to. So with the 3 Indomitables and the 3 Desperate Defense, which will make sure that Doctor Strange is always ready to do some magic spells for you. We're also going to add the Armored Vest just so we can have a 3 defense up to 5, which is good. And then finally, we're going to add 2 Get Behind Me's, so to add even more cancel effects to him and actually being able to play some of these momentum shifts. So pretty simple upgrades. Again, there's ways to make this even better, but I think this is going into what the original intent of the deck wants to be, which is, use the defense, kind of play with the perfect defense mechanic, and then they give us some really nice tools for that. So there you go. So that's playing into this. Now, I'm going to propose a deck. Again, it doesn't matter what we play, but I'm just going to propose a deck for him in aggression that I think is pretty fun, that can have some real cool impact here with the cards that we have. All right, here's a very interesting deck that I enjoyed playing was Doctor Strange. Forget about the magic. Well, basically, we're not really going to use the invocation deck too much. What we want to do is we always want to have, we really want to play into the 7 Rings of Ragador. So just to be a tough guy all the time. So that's the one we kind of want to play over and over with our Master of the Mystic Arts. And we just want to continuously be tough. All right, now that being said, so that's kind of like what you want to do with Doctor Strange. And you don't have to exhaust, because once you have the Rings of Ragador on there, that's the only one you keep, and then you play it with the Master of Mystic Arts. All right, then what you want to do is you want to play his magical enchantments to give him +1/+1 on his defense and his attack and his thwart. And that's what you really want to play into. You want a Doctor Strange to just punch face. So Hulk is there to, absorbs hit, but when you see that most of your mental icons, and what's good about this is he only has 4 mental icons in his kit. After that, everything else you can get rid of, so the only thing that's going to be left once you have Wong and the Sanctum is only going to be physical and lightning. And in the deck, all we put was physical resources and a couple of lightnings. All right, so what you want to do is kind of just ready face and bash face and punch face. So Tigra is there to kill minions. Mockingbird is just a physical resource. Sorcerer Supreme, extra hand size. The 3 skill strike, which is the bonus card, is when your hero makes a basic attack, it gets +2 for that attack. So you can do some really nice punches. You got 3 uppercuts, again, for the physical resource. You got the 3 tack teams that you just want to get out of your deck. You just want to put them there. And then you have that 2 free damage when you need it. And then you got 3 combat trainings. Again, put 1 on, and then the other 2 are physical resources. The 3 tenacities, until once you see that you're all set up, the tenacities will just let you get ready and just, and punch more, which is fun. Avengers Mansion, same thing, will get you cards. 3 helicarriers, same thing, put 1 down. And then the other ones are physical resources in your deck. And then we have the lightning and the strength. Again, it's super fun. It's a different way of playing Doctor Strange without going into another leadership deck, which obviously is the most optimal with the 7 Rings of Ragador, and the fact that Doctor Strange also introduces us to Iron Man, which is one of the best allies in the early game. So this ally, so you can definitely build a leadership deck with Iron Man and just put his equipment on him for free, and then just keep him tough all the time and have him do multiple activations. But I was like, I already gave 2 leadership decks. I don't want to do a 3rd one for this video. So I wanted to show you, like, look, this is an aggression build. Let's try something different, and let's just have some fun with some aggression cards with a character that is 100% not an aggressive character, which again for me is what I find fun and interesting. So again, this deck, not an optimal deck, but Doctor Strange is already so powerful. So, and if you see that you're falling behind, default strategy, go back to playing invocations. But the deck works. It works in mysterious ways. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the cards, the hero packs that will enhance Doctor Strange. There's not a lot. All right, guys, here are ways to enhance Doctor Strange's abilities. Again, it doesn't really matter what you put in his deck, but some of the most important cards are things that can get him ready so you can do more invocations. So my first hero pack that I would recommend, and the only one I would recommend, and then everything else is just honorable mentions. So it would be the Star-Lord hero pack. So it does come with a few cool allies, none of them which are really important to Doctor Strange, but it does come with Cosmo, which is probably one of the most important allies aside from Wong for Doctor Strange. And the reason why is not only can Cosmo combo off, because it says attacks or twerps, name a card and discard the top card of a deck. So your invocation is a deck, so you can always call event, and you're always going to hit, and that means Cosmo will never take retaliate damage, which means you can just use them to filter your invocation deck to get the spell that you really, really need. The second card that he comes with his bonus kit is Ever Vigilant, which if you have the aerial trait, and you get that when you have your cloak, you remove 2 threat and you ready your character. So these 2 cards are like super mega combo for Doctor Strange. Very, very powerful. All right, so then after that, the second one I would recommend, just because it's pretty awesome and flavorful, would be Adam Warlock. And that is from the Mad Titan Shadow campaign box. Not only do you get 2 heroes, you get some really fun cards. You get some really cool Avengers with Spectrum, so if you want to play Doctor Strange Leadership. But the best thing about Adam Warlock is he comes with 4 different spells. The first one is Magic Attack, which is pretty cool. The second one is the Shield spell. You can only play these if you are a Mystic. Then you have Zone of Silence, which removes threat, and then Summoning spell. So it's one for every color, so that's really, really cool. So in whatever aspect you choose to play Doctor Strange, well, you have a really cool card that goes with it. And then finally, the other 2 ones are still mentions. The next one is the Scarlet Witch. Obviously, she is also a Mystic, but she introduces the card Spiritual Meditation. And that's pretty much a 3 of in Doctor Strange's kit. The reason why is you get to draw 2 cards and then you discard a card from your hand. So basically what you're doing is you're filtering to your deck. So you will probably find your cloak on turn 1. You're probably going to get to find your Eye of Agamotto. You're going to be able to find your Master of the Mystic Arts way, way faster. So by playing these Spiritual Meditations, it doesn't net you any cards, but the fact that it makes you go through your deck faster to find the combo pieces that you need makes this card immensely powerful. And my final honorable mention is the Hawkeye, which is the campaign Rise of Red Skull. Again, two great heroes, Hawkeye and Spider-Woman. But Hawkeye's deck comes with this one card that I really, really enjoy, which is Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So you can exhaust an Avenger character to ready another Avenger. So you can get rid of one, you can use one of your allies and to ready Doctor Strange and do more spells. So that is what it is, guys. Doctor Strange, again, the most powerful character in this game. Ever since his release, the game has not been the same. He's just so powerful. So there's nothing you can do about this. You can try to make him easier. I like to do, I can only play my spells once, or I just don't play my spells at all. But then that kind of defeats the theme. But if you want to give yourself a challenge with Doctor Strange, yeah, you could try to do that. So you can only use your magic one time. Or some people, what they've done is every time they go through the invocation deck, they give themselves an extra encounter card. So there's all these different ways that you can kind of add to the difficulty when playing Doctor Strange. Again, he plays with all status effects, so that's why he is so darn strong. All right, guys, so that is my Beyond the Precon for Doctor Strange. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully it gives you some ideas for deck building. And yeah, and enjoy this super powerful character. If you like to win, this guy, the odds are forever in your favor. Keep on playing Model Champion. Hope this video about Doctor Strange Beyond the Precon will help you play the game and use his invocations to beat the game. Ciao, ciao, guys. See ya for Hulk next week.